First off, we have Travis Kelce screaming at his coach. Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce didn't mean anything by his shouting at head coach Andy Reid early in Sunday's Super Bowl victory over the San Francisco 49ers. It was all part of the star's competitive spirit, a source tells Page 6. Kelce was clearly irritated and frustrated after the Chiefs lost a fumble in the second quarter of their thrilling comeback over San Francisco. The 34-year-old star and boyfriend to Taylor Swift was seen on video yelling in Reid's face and even bumping the coach as he wanted back into the game following the turnover. Teammate Jerick McKinnon even had to hold Travis back. Viewers were quickly to pounce on Kelce's actions, but a source brushed aside any real animosity between the player and the coach. He's just a passionate player and everybody is on edge. It's the Super Bowl, but there was no malintent. Now let's talk about Nickelodeon covering the Super Bowl. Nickelodeon added its own spin on the sports event by showing celebrities as cartoon sea creatures. The Nickelodeon announcer introduced the celebs including LeBron James and Finn Diesel, Billie Eilish, and Herring Styles. In addition to the strange cartoon celebs, Sandy Cheeks from SpongeBob was the main commentator. Of course, why not? And they referred to Travis Kelce as Taylor Swift's boyfriend the entire night. Next up, we have the horrible Oreo commercial starring Kris Jenner. In her first Super Bowl commercial, the momager pays homage to some of the Kardashian-Jenner family's most iconic moments. The commercial is meant to be a flashback to 2007 and pay homage to the moments and cookies that have played a part in the family's fame over the last 17 years. How did we get here? Well, to answer that, I'd have to go back to the beginning, Jenner says while holding up an Oreo cookie. Jenner twists the top cookie from the rest of the Oreo and looks inside as if reading a fortune. With a giggle, she adds, "I better warn the kids." Although the commercial was received well by some, the majority of Reddit was not having it. One user writing, "I can't go anywhere online without seeing a Kardashian. And now Oreo? Come on." Another user writing, "Why are companies still endorsing Kris Jenner? Doesn't she have enough money?" Next, let's talk about the Jenna Ortega Doritos commercial. Haven't we as a culture moved past the older people look like they're doing crazy things cause stunt doubles trend? Well, that's kind of the only premise of the entire commercial. And come on Doritos, you got Jenna Ortega to be in this commercial just to have her wander around a grocery store looking for her grandmother's. The YouTube comments on the ad say it all. "It's like 2008 funny," one user says, another commenting, "What the F am I watching?" And they've officially ruined Doritos. Next up, we have Usher's halftime show. Viewers look forward to the halftime show each year, but this year's performance fell a bit flat. Usher's halftime performance during this year's Super Bowl between the Kansas City Chiefs and San Francisco 49ers has come under fire from thousands across the globe. As the players took a well-deserved break in the Allegiant Stadium locker rooms, Usher took to the field to belt out a long list of his best-known hits. While the thousands in attendance were on their feet, it's safe to say the performance fell a bit flat, with several watching at home. Complaints flooded in from the very beginning of the performance, with many moaning that the sound quality was quote awful, and that Alicia Keys was singing off pitch, and that there was no wow moment from any of the performers. Taking issue with the sound quality, one ex-user fumed. "Usher is horrible in live settings," he says, "could barely hear him on top of that. Worst halftime show in a long time. Worst halftime show ever. Didn't even hear Usher sing properly. Really disappointed." A second complained, with a third echoing, "This is historically bad. Congrats." Every year the halftime show is worse and worse. Hashtag Super Bowl, "This didn't break the internet," a fourth commenter hit out, while a fifth user bluntly put it, "The worst Super Bowl halftime show performance ever." Even those who enjoyed Usher's performance couldn't help but criticize the audio problems that plagued it, including one person who weighed in saying, "It was a great show, but the audio was just awful. It got a little better towards the end, but you could barely hear Usher at all." Now, let's discuss the horrible outfits that some celebs were wearing. From Usher to Blake Lively and Elon Musk, many were confused and unimpressed over these A-listers' clothing choices. Ahead of the big game, rumors swirled that Justin Bieber was going to make a surprise appearance during Usher's halftime show. However, when those predictions didn't pan out to be true, it left many to wonder, where in the world was JB? Well, the star reminded us that he was indeed there, but clearly had no intentions of going on that stage based on his outfit. The Peaches hitmaker was spotted wearing a loose-fitting brown-colored button-down that was totally open with his chest exposed. He topped it off with a black baseball cap tilted backwards, which added to the vacation mode vibe of it all. There's quiet luxury and then there's carelessness, and that's exactly what Elon Musk's outfit gave. The ex and Tesla CEO showed up to the event in a tight-fitting t-shirt that made him look as if he rolled out of bed and just went to the game. Even though this wasn't a red carpet event, we still expected more from one of the wealthiest celebs in the world. Next, let's discuss the atrocity that is the ticket prices for the Super Bowl. It's reported that the average price of a ticket is $10,000 US, and that box suite that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's family sat in, a reported $2 million. Earlier last week, Travis Kelce joked about how much money he was spending for the Super Bowl. I'm not really doing much different other than just counting how much money I'm spending on this damn Super Bowl for family and friends to come, he told his brother in Thursday's episode of their hit podcast, New Heights. Just making sure I'm on top of those finances and losing all this money, the athlete, who is reportedly worth $30 million, quipped. The Super Bowl ads are also extremely expensive. The average cost for 30 seconds is $7 million US. For reference, in 2015, it was only $4 million. A reliable figure doesn't really exist for how much money the Super Bowl itself makes each year, though most estimates range from a minimum of $300 million to a maximum of $1.3 billion. Our last two worst moments are from other Super Bowl years, but are equally as horrific. Remember the Justin Timberlake halftime show debacle? Well, if you don't know the story, let me catch you up. Justin and Jeanette Jackson were performing in front of over 100 million fans watching worldwide when at the end of the halftime show he tore Jeanette Jackson's costume and bared her chest live on stage. It didn't seem like it was a mistake, and Jeanette was furious. But she says she later forgave him. Honestly, this whole thing was blown way out of proportion. Jackson opened up about the incident during part 2 of her Janet Jackson documentary. She continues by saying, and of course, it should not have happened, but everyone's looking for someone to blame, and that has got to stop. Justin and I are very good friends, and we will always be very good friends. Lastly, we have the Maroon 5 Super Bowl halftime show. Beyond big name performers like Rihanna and Cardi B, who publicly turned down the 2019 halftime slot to show solidarity with Colin Kaepernick, and 100,000 Maroon 5 fans who signed a petition urging them to drop out, the band weathered brutal headlines asking, can you name a member of Maroon 5 besides Adam Levine? And will Maroon 5 give us the weakest ever Super Bowl halftime show? And the Super Bowl's biggest question, why are Maroon 5 popular? The performance certainly did not do much to highlight Maroon 5's non-Adam Levine members, with the frontman's knuckle tattoos alone getting more screen time than the rest of his band. Levine, no stranger to the screen thanks to his voice coaching gig and his many random endorsements, did his very best to remain at the forefront of the performance at all times. The most gratuitous of his many camera mugging moments coming when he launched his shirt into the crowd to reveal his very sweaty, tattoo-covered torso during their groan-worthy set, Moves Like Jagger. Adam Levine has had his fair share of controversies, especially in 2022, when he was publicly outed for cheating on his wife. The former voice coach made headlines in September 2022 when a woman named Summer Stroh claimed she had a year-long affair with Levine. At the time, I was young, I was naive, I was very easily manipulated, she alleged via a TikTok TikTok video. She added in the caption that she was, quote, embarrassed that I was involved with a man with this utter lack of remorse and respect. The University of Texas alum claimed that after she and Levine ended their affair, he reached out to her to ask if it was okay if he named his future baby boy after her. One day after a TikTok about this whole situation went viral, Levine, who was expecting baby number 3 with his wife at the time, released a statement denying that he ever cheated on his wife. I used poor judgment in speaking with anyone other than my wife in any kind of flirtatious manner. I did not have an affair. Nevertheless, I crossed the line during a regrettable period of my life. In certain instances, it became inappropriate, he said in September 2022. My wife and my family is all I care about in this world. To be this naive and stupid enough to risk the only thing that truly matters to me was the greatest mistake I could ever make. I will never make it again. Amid the drama, more women came forward claiming that they had exchanged flirty messages with Levine during his marriage to Victoria's Secret model. First up, we have Jay-Z. This happened recently at this year's Grammy Awards. Jay-Z won the Dr. Dre Global Impact Award at the Grammy Awards on Sunday and called out the Recording Academy for failing to recognize his wife, Beyonce, with Album of the Year. I'm just saying, we want y'all to get it right, the Hard Knock Life rapper said. We love y'all, at least get it close to right. Obviously, it's subjective because it's music and it's opinion based, but some things, you know, I don't want to embarrass this young lady, but she has more Grammys than everyone and never won Album of the Year. So even by your own metrics, that doesn't work. Think about that, he repeated. The most Grammys, never won Album of the Year. That doesn't work. Beyonce has been nominated for Album of the Year 4 times, but has lost each time she has been nominated. First to Taylor Swift, then to Beck, then to Adele, and finally to Harry Styles. She currently holds the record for the most Grammy wins in history with 32. Jay-Z went on to cheekily mock the intense emotions that Grammy losers sometimes endure. Some of you are gonna go home tonight and you feel like you've been robbed, he said. Some of you may get robbed. Some of you don't belong in the category. When I get nervous, I tell the truth. Next up, we have Billy Joel. When Frank Sinatra was honored at the 1994 Grammys with the Legend Award, his speech seemed to go on and on. But no one expected the broadcast to cut him off mid-sentence and immediately go to commercial. Later, during the ceremony, Billy Joel took a stand. He stopped his performance of River of Dreams intentionally to waste commercial time, saying, "Valuable advertising time going by. Dollars, dollars, dollars." He smirked and carried on. Now let's talk about Milli Vanilli. In a first for the Grammys, the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences rescinded Milli Vanilli's 1990 Best New Artist Award after it was revealed that the duo did not sing at all, did not sing any of the vocals on their album All or Nothing, including their mega hit Girl You Know It's True. That is not the kind of history that any artist wants to make. I hope revoking this award will make the industry think long and hard before anybody ever tries to pull something like this again, the Recording Academy president said at the time. Seemingly, it has. If you don't know the whole story, let me recap. The German-French pop duo barnstormed through European charts with their first single, Girl You Know It's True. The song hit the US airwaves in March later that year with stratospheric impact. Their debut album sold over 8 million copies and spawned 3 #1 singles. It stayed in the top 10 for the rest of the year. Young fans, mainly women, screamed along to Rob Pilatus and Fabrice Morvan's tight choreography and blatant eye candy. All of that was overshadowed and then swept into the dustbin of pop history by disgrace. By the time Milli Vanilli accepted the Grammy Award for Best New Artist in 1990, many in the music business suspected something was afoot. That November, Farian, one of the members, revealed in a press conference that the duo never sang on any of their recordings and lip-synced their performances. Wow. Radio stations stopped playing all their songs and fans destroyed their records, as well as the Grammys rescinding their award for the only time ever in history. Next up, we have 21 Pilots. Upon receiving their Grammy for Best Pop Duo Performance for the song Stressed Out at the 2017 Grammys, 21 Pilots walked up on stage to accept the award in their underwear. According to the band, it was fulfilling an old promise that they made to each other to accept their first Grammy in their underwear. Host James Corden followed suit, introducing Ed Sheeran later that night in his boxer briefs as he explained to the audience, "I always told myself that if I ever hosted the Grammys, I would also do it in my underwear." 21 Pilots have had their fair share of controversy. In 2020, Tyler Joseph issued an apology after making a joke about using his platforms, which many of his followers deemed insensitive. He took to Twitter to share 2 photos of himself wearing a pair of white shoes, captioning the post, "You guys keep asking me to use my platforms. Feels good to dust these bad boys off." The joke was perceived to be a response to many of the singer's fans who have urged him to use his status and large following to raise awareness of the Black Lives Matter movement and other social issues. "Human rights aren't a joke, but okay," one fan replied. Another commented, "No, that's actually not what we mean. We would like you to speak up on the injustice in this country." A third follower labeled the post, quote, "really tone deaf and insensitive," adding, "You've been known to not like to talk about politics, but are human rights really that political? No, they are not." Next up, we have Kanye West. At the 2015 Grammys, Kanye nearly went on stage after Beck won Album of the Year. Everybody thought he was joking, maybe making a reference to his infamous 2009 VMAs moment when he jumped on stage and told Taylor Swift that she didn't deserve her award. But this time, he wasn't joking. Although he didn't take the mic this time around, he shared his thoughts on Beck's win after the show, saying, quote, "All I know is if the Grammys want real artists to keep coming back, they need to stop playing with us. We ain't gonna play with them no more. Beck needs to respect artistry and he should have given his award to Beyonce. And at this point, we're tired of it," Kanye said, with his wife Kim K at his side. He continued, "Because what happens is when you keep on diminishing art and not respecting the craft and smacking people in the face after they deliver monumental feats of music, you're disrespectful to inspiration, and we as musicians have to inspire people who go to work every day and they listen to that Beyonce album and they feel like it takes them to another place." Next up, we have Miley Cyrus. Miley has had her fair share of award show moments, like when she grinded on a pool on top of an ice cream cart at the Teen Choice Awards, and when she performed Blurred Lines, dressed as a naked bear. But at this year's Grammys, Miley spoke her honest truth while performing her mega hit song Flowers. Everything was going well in her performance until she got to the chorus. I guess she noticed the audience wasn't singing along, and so she stopped the song, saying, "Why are you acting like you don't know the song?" After a moment of silence, she continued, with no one in the audience joining in. Next up, we have Taylor Swift. Now, Taylor has had over a decade of going to the Grammys, so let's talk about 2 awkward moments. First up is more recent. At this year's Grammys, Celine Dion presented the award for Album of the Year to Taylor Swift. This was a huge moment for Celine, as this is her first public event since the announcement of her illness, stiff person's syndrome. You'd think Taylor would respect the person giving her the award, but no. Taylor got on stage, hugged every single person on there except for Celine Dion. She also didn't make eye contact with her while taking the award. Yikes. I guess there's unknown beef between the 2 megastars. Next, we have the famous red carpet interview from the 2015 Grammy Awards. To refresh your memory, the exchange unfolded while Swift spoke with Entertainment Tonight reporter Nancy Odell about her dress. Things took an awkward turn when Odell insinuated about her much talked about dating life. As the camera does a full take on Taylor's dress, the reporter says, quote, "I just wanted to show the legs because as I was telling you ahead of time, you're going to walk home with more than maybe just a trophy tonight. I think lots of men." The singer appears to shoot Odell a death stare before replying, "No, I'm not gonna walk home with any men tonight. I'm gonna go hang out with my friends and then I go home to the cats." Next, we have Trevor Noah. As host of the 2024 Grammys, Trevor had a lot to say. As the music industry continues making sense of music by UMG artists being removed from TikTok earlier this week, on Sunday night during the Grammy Awards, host Trevor Noah called out TikTok during his opening monologue. "Shame on you, TikTok, for ripping off artists. That's Spotify's job," he says. Wow. Nice and honest. I like it. Our next celebrity is Nicki Minaj. In Nicki's 2012 Grammys performance, people were, let's just say, confused. Her performance of Roman's Revenge was confusing and super bizarre. For those who don't know, Roman is Nicki's British alter ego. During the first part of her performance, she was pretending to be Roman while confessing her sins to a priest. While Nicki may think her Roman character is interesting, most of the population does not. In fact, most people in the audience audience just assumed Roman was Nicki rapping in a British accent. She falsely assumed that people would understand the story behind her performance. Most people questioned what was happening at the time, and the performance was a lot to take in. Besides being difficult to understand, Nicki was full of manic energy and really difficult to watch. Many found the Catholic Church imagery to also be offensive, and it was obvious that she lip-synced most of her performance. Finally, we have Beyonce. At the 2023 Grammy Awards, Beyonce was missing when it came to accept her award. Viola Davis announced the nominees and revealed that Beyonce had won. However, when the camera panned to the audience, the Break My Soul singer was not there, despite Trevor Noah, who also hosted that year's awards, saying that she was in the crowd moments earlier. After the camera couldn't find Beyonce, it panned back to the stage where two men were standing holding the singer's award. One of the men, one of the writers of the song, said something inaudible into the microphone before ending with, "Beyonce, thanks y'all." Trevor stepped up to the mic and told the confused audience Beyonce is on her way after being stuck in traffic. Beyonce has now equaled the award for most Grammys of all time, he added, stalling until she arrived. First off, we have the 2024 Grammys. While Jay-Z was accepting his award, he took his mic time to look at his wife Beyonce in the audience and ask the Grammys why they have never given her Album of the Year. People were stunned, and so was Beyonce. Body language expert Judy James told The Mirror that Beyonce tried to hide her facial expressions with her white hat during her husband's acceptance speech. The expert believes that, quote, "a loyal husband can be a dangerous thing, no matter how much they show love, plus an intrinsic drive to defend and protect." Judy shared that most women of today's era would prefer to stand up for themselves. Quote, "You can argue Jay-Z has his heart somewhere in the right place in terms of velour, but Beyonce's frozen-looking symmetric smile seems to hint that she might just be feeling as mortified as many women would," she added. Judy shared, "Moaning about not getting an award means next year's awards will be poignant for Beyonce. If she fails again, she'll be hurt. But if she wins it, the hint will be that Jay-Z nailed it for her, rather than her own talent." Beyonce holds the record of winning the most Grammys ever, however, she has never received the Album of the Year award. Next up, we have Jay-Z's cheating scandal. In 2013, rumors came out that the rapper had been cheating, and then there was #ElevatorGate that trended when Solange Knowles attacked Jay-Z while sister Beyonce stayed silent. More recently, Jay-Z's album 444 alluded to him being unfaithful. He wrote, "Look, I apologize, often womanized, took for my child to be born to see through a woman's eyes." The rapper and Beyonce had planned to do a joint album, but ended up doing solo records instead. "We were using our art mostly like a therapy session, and we started making music together. And then the music she was making at that time was further along. So her album came out as opposed to the joint album that we were working on." Next up, we have the Lance Rivera situation. In 1999, Jay-Z was arrested for, let's just call this, putting a knife into the young record executive Lance Rivera. Jay-Z believed Rivera distributed bootlegged copies of his then unreleased album, The Life and Times of S. Carter, which was not supposed to hit stores until later. After committing the crime, Jay-Z turned himself into the police, accompanied by his lawyer. A witness to the altercation said Jay-Z walked up to Rivera and said, "Lance, you broke my heart." Rivera responded with, "What?" before Jay-Z pulled out the knife, according to the witness. Jay-Z pled guilty and faced a 3-year sentence of probation. Next, we have the fact that Jay-Z was a substance dealer, we'll call it, in his teenage years. Speaking to Vanity Fair, Jay-Z opened up about his past, admitting that he was dealing substances to make ends meet. "It was everywhere. It was inescapable. There wasn't any place you could go for isolation or a break," he said in an interview. "You go in the hallway, there are people using in the hallway. You look out in the puddles on the curbs, everywhere." Jay-Z admitted that while he made a living selling substances, he never once used them. Jay-Z claimed that he did learn some of the business practices he does today from his time dealing the substances. "I know about budgets. I was a dealer. To be in a deal, you need to know what you can spend, what you need to re-up." Next up, let's talk about Jay-Z suing Rita Ora for alleging that she still owed 4 more albums. Famous singer Rita Ora was sued by Jay-Z's album label Roc Nation, with Ora alleging the company lost interest after they focused their attention on other ventures such as streaming service Tidal and also a sports management company. Roc Nation's claim they sunk millions into Rita's career and that she owes them 4 more albums. Ora signed with Roc Nation in 2008 while she was an unknown artist and agreed to deliver 5 albums and has only produced 1. Ora's attorney Howard King said Jay-Z promised Ora, quote, total freedom from the label. In a statement, King believes that Sony Music made Roc Nation file the action to preserve whatever rights Sony had. Roc Nation alleged it was a breach of contract and they demanded $2 million plus be given back along with unspecified damages for the 4 undelivered albums. The lawsuit was settled between the two parties, with Rita Ora possibly signing with a new music label. Next, let's discuss Jay-Z being arrested for gun possession. In April of 2001, Jay-Z and 3 other men were arrested outside a Manhattan nightclub and held on charges of illegal gun possession. Police said that Jay-Z was detained when his bodyguard Hamza Hewitt was allegedly found with a firearm in his waistband. Hewitt, Jay-Z, and 2 other individuals were all charged with 3rd-degree criminal possession. The case was delayed until October 2001 when Jay-Z entered a plea of not guilty and was found not to have been part of the possession, but did face 3 years probation for his 1999 incident with Rivera, which we just talked about. Jay-Z also went under fire for his decision to host his famous Oscars after party in 2022 at the controversial Chateau Marmont Hotel. Every year, the rapper hosts one of the starriest parties of the night, known as the Gold Party, with attendees in previous years including Rihanna, Reese Witherspoon, Kanye West, and Kim K. His last party, which was held pre-pandemic in 2020, was at the Chateau Marmont. But Jay-Z's plans to throw the 2022 event in a lounge space at the Sunset Strip Hotel have been met with criticism due to an ongoing boycott of the property by some of its workers and celebrity guests over alleged racial discrimination at the venue. Kurt Peterson, the boss of workers union Unite Here Local, said in a statement, quote, for Jay-Z to choose the Chateau Marmont for the Gold Party is shockingly insensitive. They must move their event and choose an after-party hotspot that treats its workers, especially black women, with dignity and respect. Jay-Z has a responsibility to do better, he added. We hope Jay-Z joins Gabrielle Union, Issa Rae, Quinta Brunson, Ashley Nicole Black in boycotting Chateau Marmont. The union even organized a picket line outside the bash beginning at 8 p.m. the night of the party. In 2020, The Hollywood Reporter published an investigation of allegations against the Chateau Marmont, with employees claiming that black and Latino visitors were stopped and questioned when they were arrived more than white guests, claims that were confirmed by a representative for comedian Tiffany Haddish. The Chateau's law firm said at the time that workplace issues are regularly raised, as at any business, and swiftly investigated and addressed, adding that a whistleblower line is in place for employees to report issues or concerns directly to outside integrity counsel. Next, let's discuss 4040, Jay-Z's old nightclub. His nightclub 4040 was reported to have bounced checks. In 2003, reports claimed that 2 companies filed separate lawsuits against Jay-Z's nightclub for a total of $46,000 in unpaid bills to the 2 businesses that complained, claiming that they received rubber checks from 21's Inc., the rapper's company. Ronald Mark Associates was to be paid $18,000 for manufacturing 30 custom tables, but only received $5,000. Ron Berkowitz, a spokesman for 4040, downplayed the allegations, claiming the bouncing checks are a bum rap. Berkowitz said one suit was settled for $8,000 on November 2nd, 2003. The second lawsuit was without merit, but said they were countersuing Ronald Mark Associates after they couldn't deliver tables as promised before the opening night. The next point is a bit shocking. Jay-Z reportedly shot his own brother when Jay-Z was only 12 years old. He said he did it because his brother stole one of his rings. How did he get the firearm? I went to someone's crib, someone's house and got it, Jay-Z said, explaining how easy it was at the time to acquire a firearm. They were everywhere. You didn't have to go far to get one, they were just everywhere. After doing this to his brother, he believed he was going to jail, but his sibling refused to press charges and ended up apologizing to his brother because he was an addict. It was terrible. I was a boy, a child. I was terrified, he said in the interview. Lastly, let's discuss how he reportedly punched a female fan in 1999 at one of his concerts. Yikes. In footage from Jay-Z's concert film, Backstage, a scene from part of the film shows Jay-Z striking a young female fan back in 1999. The rapper appears to slap and then push her in front of him as he walks down a corridor with his entourage. A spokeswoman for the rapper says that the footage was being taken out of context. Speaking to the New York Daily News, she said, quote, "The person in that video is someone who he's worked with for years and they are very, very close. And for it to be exerted like that is an insult." Next up, we have the YouTuber scandal that shocked the world. Ned Fulmer from popular YouTube channel The Try Guys. Ned, who got married to Ariel Fulmer in 2012, admitted to engaging in consensual workplace relationships after photos on Reddit appeared to show him kissing a colleague, Alex Herring, in a bar. Ned shares 2 children with Ariel and famously built his whole brand around his love and devotion to his family, becoming one of the internet's most prominent good guys. "Family should have always been my priority, but I lost focus and had a consensual workplace relationship," Ned said in a written statement. "I'm sorry for any pain that my actions have caused to the guys and to the fans, but most of all to Ariel. The only thing that matters right now is my marriage and my children, and that's where I'm going to focus my attention." The rest of the Try Guys, Keith, Zach, and Eugene, confirmed that Ned was no longer working with them as a result of the scandal. "We do not see a path forward together," they shared. "We thank you for your support as we navigate this change." Next up, we have Tristan Thompson and Khloe Kardashian. Tristan Thompson made headlines twice for cheating on Khloe Kardashian, whom he began dating in 2016 over the course of their relationship. The Cleveland Cavaliers player was spotted cozying up to 2 women in April 2018 while Kardashian was pregnant with their daughter True. Later that month, Us Weekly confirmed that Thompson had been unfaithful to the reality star since November 2017 with at least 5 different women. However, Thompson was present for their daughter's birth, which was documented on season 15 of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Us Weekly broke the news in May 2018 that the duo were quote, "fully back together despite Thompson's infidelity." The Revenge Body host defended her decision to reunite with the NBA star in November 2018. "His mistake was obviously humiliating and heartbreaking, but I do believe I am strong enough to endure anything," she tweeted at the time. "I choose to find a life lesson in every situation, even the nasty ones. Tristan has grown from this, but most importantly, he's a beautiful father to our sweet baby True." The athlete and Kardashian split for a second time when he was seen kissing Kylie Jenner's then best friend Jordan Woods at a party in 2019. Next up, we have Kristen Stewart, who cheated on Robert Pattinson with one of her directors, Rupert Sanders. "I'm deeply sorry for the hurt and embarrassment I've caused to those close to me and everybody this has affected," she said at the time. This momentary indiscretion has jeopardized the most important thing in my life, the person I love and respect the most, Rob. I love him, I'm so sorry." Sanders, for his part, publicly apologized to his then wife, Liberty Ross, and their 2 children, Skyla and Tennyson. "I am utterly distraught about the pain I have caused my family," the English director said in a statement. "My beautiful wife and heavenly children are all I have in this world. I love them with all my heart. I'm praying that we can get through this together." Both couples called it quits after the news broke. Next up, we have Shakira and Gerard Piqué. Piqué was having an affair with a 22-year-old girl while in a relationship with Shakira. Shakira and Piqué, a professional soccer player, were together from 2011 to 2022 and have 2 kids, though they never officially married. In her first interview about the breakup in September, Shakira told Elle, "Sometimes I just feel like this is all a bad dream and that I'm gonna wake up at some point. But no, it's real." She continued, "And what's also real is the disappointment to see something as sacred and as special as I thought was the relationship I had with my kid's father, and see that turned into something vulgarized and cheapened by the media. But by January 2023, the gloves were off. Shakira broke records when she dropped Music Session 53, which is apparently about PK. His new 23-year-old girlfriend, and how Shakira is worth, quote, 2 22-year-olds. Insider's Alan Dawson previously reported. Our next cheating couple is Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner. While the world is currently wrapped up in Bennifer, the other one with Jennifer Lopez, lest we forget that Ben Affleck was once in a soap operatic turn of events caught cheating on Jennifer Garner, the mother of his children and wife of 10 years. He cheated on Jennifer Garner with, guess this, the nanny. The couple divorced in 2018, and after marrying him last year, Jennifer Lopez went on saying that, honestly, I would simply walk out if she discovered he'd been unfaithful, instead of, quote, flying into a rage. Next up, we have Jude Law and Sienna Miller. The pair were a picture-perfect Hollywood couple. The couple had been engaged for 8 months when Jude Law's kid's nanny, Daisy Wright, claimed that the two had been involved in an affair while he was filming a movie in New Orleans. Law then published an apology to Miller in the British Press Association, saying, "There is no defense for my actions, which I sincerely regret, and I ask that you respect our privacy at this very difficult time." Miller and Law were on and off for the next few years, breaking up for good in 2011. That was one of the most challenging moments I hope I'll never have to experience again, she told the Daily Beast in 2022. The next celeb may come as a bit of a shock. We have David Letterman. David Letterman had only been married to his wife for 6 months, although they had been together for over 20 years, when he admitted to having multiple affairs with women who worked for him on air, including his longtime assistant Stephanie Burkett. The affair came to light when Stephanie's boyfriend Robert Halderman, a producer at CBS, allegedly tried to extort Letterman for $2 million in exchange for his silence. But David did not take up the offer and instead said this on live television. "This morning I did something I've never done in my life. I had to go downtown and testify before a grand jury." Letterman revealed to the studio audience that he received a package 3 weeks ago containing a threat to reveal those indiscretions. If Letterman did not pay the individual a large sum of money, specified as $2 million, he said that the package contained a letter that said, "I know that you do some terrible, terrible things, and I can prove that you do those terrible things." And sure enough, what was contained in the package was proof that I do terrible, terrible things, he said. Our next celeb couple is Kevin Hart and Eniko Parrish. Kevin Hart's infidelity story is honestly a little similar to Letterman's, as he was also being extorted. After denying any wrongdoing, he took to Instagram in 2017 to apologize to his wife Eniko Parrish and his kids. It was then later revealed that somebody was in possession of an explicit video of Hart and was attempting to receive money from him. Hart and Parrish stayed together, and he spoke about it on a podcast in 2020. Our final celebrity couple involves Arnold Schwarzenegger. When Arnold Schwarzenegger and Maria Shriver announced their separation in 2011 after 25 years of marriage, it was a shock to everybody. The bigger shock, however, came later when the world found out that Schwarzenegger was the father of a son born in 1997, mothered by the couple's housekeeper at the time. It's always the housekeeper. "Remember, it's not like we had a feud," he explained to People magazine in an interview. "We didn't have a fight." He added, "It's just my F-up. My chapter with Maria will continue on forever," he told People. "Even though it's a different relationship and we are now separated, there's no reason for me to feel anything other than love for Maria."
The Grammys had a massive slip-up last night, accidentally releasing the wrong name on their X page for the recipient of the Best Rap Song Award. They announced that Barbie World from Barbie the Album, performed by Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice, won, when it was actually Killer Mike for Scientists and Engineers. This was especially awful, as this would have been Nicki Minaj's first Grammy win, something fans have been lobbying for years. Nicki has been nominated 12 times since 2011, but has never taken anything home. It was an unfortunate mistake that was quickly fixed, but not before multiple fans grabbed screenshots of the tweet.
They announced on Twitter, and this is their Twitter, that Barbie World, Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice just won Best Rap Song. Then they gonna say the Grammys official account mistakenly announced Barbie World as the best rap song winner instead of scientists and engineers. What the hell?
Miley Cyrus has finally won a Grammy. It's about time. She won for her track Flowers in the Best Pop Solo Performance category. Flowers spent 38 weeks at the top of the Billboard Adult Contemporary chart, making it the longest-running #1 hit in the chart's history. The hook of the song and just the message in general had quite a chokehold over TikTok when it first came out. My point is, the song was popular, everybody was singing it, just not last night during Miley's performance, leading to an awkward moment where Cyrus called out the silent crowd saying, "Why are you acting like you don't know this song?" Which is fair, the song is super fun, and pretty soon after, lots of people were up and dancing. Miley continued to bring the energy after she sang, started to cry, but then remembered, "I just won my first Grammy." No one was silent after that. She also received the Grammy for the Record of the Year, also for Flowers. Bebe Rexha was nominated this year with David Guetta in the Pop Dance Recording category for their collab 1 in a Million. Bebe is known on her own for party anthems like Me, Myself and I and In the Name of Love, but did you know about her extensive opera training? If you didn't, you probably found out last night in the middle of her red carpet interview with Laverne Cox. The pair started out with the average red carpet talking points, the songs, and the glam, but towards the end of the interview, Laverne brought up a past time the pair had met when Bebe revealed she wanted people to get to know the real her. She also brought up the fact that Bebe is a talented opera singer, asking her to share something about herself singing if she wants. And she did! The two of them were having a lot of fun, but for the viewers at home and on the side of the screen, there was a bit of confusion as to why a high C was suddenly being heard. Plus, singing with no music, unprepared, is always an awkward experience. Although, if this were going to happen on any red carpet, it would be the Grammys. Just a few days ago, UMG Studios announced that it would be pulling all of their artists' music from the popular social media app TikTok, prompting disappointments from fans worldwide. This would include songs from people like Taylor Swift, Olivia Rodrigo, Harry Styles, and Drake. UMG announced that the reasoning for that was TikTok wasn't providing adequate compensation for the use of the music. This year's host, Trevor Noah, he did not shy away from the situation. He called it out, saying, "TikTok, shame on you for ripping off all these artists. That's Spotify's job." Spotify was minding their business, but I guess no one is safe. Spotify did have a similar controversy a few years ago, but there is a new policy being put in place this year that no one is a fan of. The change is that if an artist receives less than 1,000 streams, they won't be compensated at all. For reference, Spotify pays artists about 0.003 to 0.005 of a cent per stream. That's only about $3 for 999 streams. Maybe they did deserve the call out. SZA won her 4th Grammy yesterday for her song Snooze. It was in the Best R&B category, but she was the most nominated artist for the evening with 9 nominations. Longtime friend Lizzo got to announce the R&B win, and it was met with plenty of excitement from the audience, only SZA was nowhere to be found. She took so long to come out on stage that people started looking for her. It only took about 20 seconds for her to come out on stage, but on a stage and screen as big as the Grammys, that feels like an eternity. SZA did explain her absence during her acceptance speech. She was in the middle of a costume change and had to do a, I'm assuming, celebration shot. Casey Musgraves was nominated in 2 categories last night, Best Country Song and Best Country Duo/Group Performance, for the song I Remember Everything, winning the latter. She had the opportunity to present an award this year. Unfortunately, the new winner almost didn't hear their name. Casey was standing so far back from the mic that the audience and at-home viewers had to strain to hear her. She did correct her mistake in time to announce the winner, eventually moving further forwards to actually announce the name. There was a bit of awkward silence as everyone tried to hear exactly what was going on beforehand though. Another awkward red carpet moment came from actor and singer Michael Trotter. He revealed in an interview that he had been pretty worried because he thought his wife, singer Tanya Trotter, was going to divorce him before their Grammy nomination. As an interviewer, I wouldn't know what to do with that if I received that info, but they handled it well. The pair is still together under the name War and Treaty and were nominated for their collaboration Lover's Game in the Best New Artist category. They received 2 nominations for the evening but did not go home with either, unfortunately. Not everyone loves audience participation, even some of the biggest artists on the planet. During Fantasia's Tina Turner tribute, eagle-eyed fans spotted Beyonce slightly hiding under her hat, not making eye contact when Fantasia was looking for a dance partner. The performance is a lot of fun and packed full of energy, energy, so I can understand Beyonce maybe wanting to sit back and enjoy watching instead of being a part of the piece. Beyonce was not nominated for any Grammys this year. She did attend though with her daughter Blue Ivy to support her husband Jay-Z, who was receiving the Dr. Dre Global Impact Award. Beyonce has received 88 nominations and 32 wins over the years, making her the artist with the most Grammy awards, yet never an album of the year, which actually led to another awkward moment. Not necessarily awkward for the audience, and more awkward for the Grammys. During Jay-Z's acceptance speech for the Impact Award, he used part of his time to call out the award show for snubbing his wife in the Best Album category. He said, "I don't want to embarrass this young lady, but she has more Grammys than anyone and never won Album of the Year. Even by your own metric, that does not work. Think about that. Most Grammys, never won Album of the Year. That doesn't work." And he's right. Beyonce has created some of the best music and pop culture moments of our generation, and she's never won in that category? That's kind of weird. This isn't the first time Jay-Z has stood up to the Grammys. In 1998, he boycotted the Grammys over rapper DMX's lack of nominations. Probably the most awkward moment of all happened after someone left the Grammy stage. Rapper Killer Mike won 3 Grammys last night for Best Rap Song, Best Rap Performance, and Best Rap Album for his 2023 album, Michael. However, what should have been a celebratory evening turned sour when he was seen leaving the event in handcuffs. A social media post from the LAPD said the reason the rapper was taken into custody was because he got into a physical altercation that occurred at the 700 block of Chick Hearn Court. Allegedly, he got physical with a security guard that was not moving fast enough for Killer Mike's liking. No other details have been released yet.
Our first celebrity who will not be attending this year's mega sports event is singer Pink. And the reasoning is, she was offered the halftime show slot and turned it down. NFL executives were reportedly furious after Pink's 2018 Super Bowl national anthem performance. The NFL reportedly offered her the halftime gig for the following year, but she declined. Pink opened up about her decision to turn down the halftime show to Billboard in 2019, citing the potential for backlash amid her personal politics. "Everybody that does it gets so persecuted," she told the outlet. The singer was also adamant about protesting the NFL's treatment of Colin Kaepernick, stating, "I'd probably take a knee and get carried out. They should only give it, because of the current controversy, to African American or Latino women for a while," Pink added. Our next celebrity is Cardi B. Cardi was also offered the halftime slot and declined, and again, the NFL higher-ups were not impressed. In 2019, Cardi B told the Associated Press that she declined the offer with, quote, "mixed feelings." Cardi B told the outlet that she felt like she owed it to Colin Kaepernick to say no. Quote, "I got to sacrifice a lot of money to perform, but there's a man who sacrificed his job for us, so we gotta stand behind him," Cardi added. In the interview, the rapper also talked about her husband Offset and his complicated relationship with football due to his politics. He really wants to go to the Super Bowl, but he can't go to the Super Bowl because he's got to stand for something, she continued. Now, if you're confused about why these celebs are turning down the halftime show for Colin Kaepernick, here is the scoop. In 2016, football player Colin Kaepernick took a knee during the national anthem before a game to protest unrelenting police violence against black communities and was blacklisted because of it. Next on our list, we have Will Smith. The reasoning behind his probable banning is because of the infamous Oscars moment when Will went on stage and slapped Oscars host Chris Rock after he made a comment about Will's ex-wife Jada Pinkett Smith. In 2022, Will Smith received a 10-year ban from the Academy Awards for slapping Chris on stage, meaning he cannot attend the Oscars until 2033. Yikes. Due to his aggressive behavior at publicized events, it's likely the actor will not be allowed to attend the star-studded sports event. In his resignation, Smith said he would, quote, "accept any further consequences that the board deems appropriate. I betrayed the trust of the Academy," he added in his statement. "I deprived other nominees and winners of their opportunity to celebrate and be celebrated for their extraordinary work." In its letter announcing the ban, the board expressed, quote, "deep gratitude to Chris Rock for maintaining his composure under extraordinary circumstances, and also thanked our hosts, nominees, presenters, and winners for their poise and grace during the telecast." This action we are taking today in response to Will Smith's behavior is a step toward a larger goal of protecting the safety of our performers and guests and restoring trust in the Academy, the letter concluded. We also hope this can begin a time of healing and restoration for all involved and impacted. Our next celebrity may come as a bit of a shock. Miss Taylor Swift. As girlfriend of Kansas City Chiefs player Travis Kelce, who will be playing at this year's Super Bowl, you'd think Taylor would obviously be allowed at the event, but not necessarily. The NFL has strict rules when it comes to what celebrities are allowed in their crowd, and the NFL may see Taylor as a distraction to the big game. One football fan reportedly yelled at Taylor while she was watching a Chiefs game, screaming, "You're ruining football." And one time, she was loudly booed when she was shown on screen during a Kansas City Chiefs game. Another reason why she might not be invited to the Super Bowl is because she's also one of those celebs on the list who turned down the halftime show. The reason she turned it down is likely because her schedule is already booked so full and in advance that there is no time for her to prepare for this type of event. It's expected also for free. The only possible thing that Taylor could get out of it would be, quote, exposure, which we all know she isn't lacking. Justin Timberlake is another celebrity who is most likely banned from ever attending another Super Bowl event after his 2004 viral Super Bowl halftime performance. If you don't know the story, let me catch you up. Justin and Janet Jackson were performing in front of over 150 million fans watching worldwide when at the end of the show, he tore Janet's costume and bared her chest live on stage. It didn't seem like it was a mistake, and Janet was furious, but says she later forgave Justin. Honestly, this whole thing was blown way out of proportion. She opened up about the incident during part 2 of her Janet Jackson documentary for Lifetime. She continues by saying, "And of course, it should not have happened, but everybody is looking for someone to blame, and that has got to stop. Justin and I are really good friends, and we will always be really good friends." Next up, we have a pretty obvious NFL ban, Lance Armstrong. NFL prohibits any doping or cheating in all games, so Lance will not be allowed to get anywhere near the Super Bowl. Lance Armstrong, a former American road racing cyclist, helped elevate cycling to global popularity. His 7 consecutive Tour de France victories from 1999 to 2005, and also his status as a cancer survivor, made him one of the most iconic athletes ever. In 2012, cyclist Lance Armstrong was formally stripped of his 7 Tour de France titles after being charged with using performance-enhancing drugs, as well as demanding his teammates also use them to help him win races. Next up, we have another athlete, Oscar Pistorius, another sports star who will not be allowed to attend this year's Super Bowl. In 2012, Oscar from South Africa became the first double amputee to run in the Olympics. Just 6 months later, he ended his girlfriend's life in their house. The news of this gripped South Africa and the entire world. Pistorius, now 37, later claimed that he had mistaken her for a burglar during the night. Pistorius was eventually convicted in 2019, and he has been serving a 13-year prison sentence, but just recently in January, he was released on parole. Next up, we have Tom Brady. Tom Brady is considered to be one of the greatest to have played the game of American football. The quarterback spent the majority of his career with the New England Patriots. However, the great has his fair share of controversies as well. In 2015, Brady was found to be using balls that were intentionally deflated in their game against Indianapolis Colts. This deflated ball was illegal as it meant that Brady had a better grip on the ball. After being found out, Brady was imposed with a fine of $1 million and was also given a 4-match ban. He is technically allowed to attend the game, but it's likely football fans would be furious if they see him there. Our next celebrity who will not be allowed to attend this year's Super Bowl is Tonya Harding. Remember the movie I Am Tonya starring Margot Robbie? Yes, that is her. Tonya Harding is a former American figure skater. In 1994, ahead of the US Figure Skating Championships, Harding conspired to have fellow American figure skater and also her rival, Nancy Kerrigan, attacked. The attack was orchestrated by Harding's former husband and her bodyguard. The plan was to injure Nancy before the tournament so that she couldn't participate in the upcoming tournament and also in the Winter Olympics. And they did just that. Before Kerrigan was about to go on the ice, she got hit hard in the kneecap by a metal bar. Afterwards, crying, "Why me?" a scream heard around the world. However, Harding's plan technically failed as Nancy just ended up with a bruise instead of a broken leg. Nancy Kerrigan then went on to win silver in the Winter Olympics. Tanya admitted to her wrongdoings and was penalized with a fine and 5,000 hours of community service. Another athlete with a scandalous past. Our final celebrity who will not be allowed to attend this year's Super Bowl is Adele, another singer who declined an offer to perform the halftime show. After rumors swirled that Adele would perform at the 2017 Super Bowl, she told a crowd at the 2016 concert in Los Angeles that she actually rejected the offer. First of all, I'm not doing the Super Bowl. I mean, come on, that show is not about music. I can't dance or anything like that. They were really kind, they did ask me, but I said no, Adele told the audience, according to Billboard. The day after the 2016 concert, the NFL and Pepsi released a statement asserting that they never, quote, extended a offer to Adele or anyone else. Yikes. But Adele is doing absolutely fine. That same year, Adele won Grammys for Record of the Year, Album of the Year, Song of the Year, Best Pop Vocal Album, and Best Pop Solo Performance. Her hit song Hello has 3 billion views on YouTube, 1 million comments, and 18 million likes. So yeah, she didn't need the Super Bowl. Next up, let's discuss some of the Super Bowl commercials this year. There's only one day per year where the commercials are actually anticipated, and this would be the Super Bowl. It has always cost companies a ton of money to have their brand advertised during the big game, and the expectation with the ads has always been that they are worth watching. That is certainly true of some more than others. Every year, fans will come away with some ads that crack them up or hit them in the feels. But there are just as many ads that leave fans disappointed they didn't use those 30 seconds for the bathroom break. Our first bad commercial is Temu. There's a lot going on in this commercial, let's just say. First of all, the jingle they have is not Burger King Whopper catchy, it's just plain annoying. On top of that, their slogan, quote, shopping like a billionaire, doesn't really make sense because it doesn't mean shopping for dresses that are $9.99. Another commercial that was just plain awkward is the Snapchat commercial. The commercial starts with bashing other social media platforms and then ends with a slogan that says, less social media, more Snapchat. Only one problem, Snapchat, you are also a social media platform. Next up, let's discuss an awkward singing moment. One of the commentators was caught singing along to Adele's Rolling in the Deep right before the commercial break, and it didn't sound too good. While he was trying to hit the high notes of Adele's smash hit, another commentator said, alright, let's take it to commercial break. Yikes. Now let's discuss the Super Bowl injuries, an athlete's worst nightmare. This year, 49ers linebacker Dre Greenlaw injured his Achilles tendon while jogging onto the field and got taken out of the game. As Greenlaw prepared to run back onto the field for another Niners defensive series, with 9 minutes 26 seconds left in the second quarter of Sunday's Super Bowl, he injured his left leg. Coach Kyle Shanahan confirmed after the game that Greenlaw tore his Achilles tendon. Super painful. Fellow San Francisco linebacker Fred Warner reacted in anger upon seeing Greenlaw get hurt. Defensive end Nick Bosa watched in stunned silence as Greenlaw hobbled the few feet to the sideline, where medical staff began treating him immediately. Moments later, a teary-eyed Greenlaw was taken to the locker room on a cart. It was hard. Sometimes when things like that happen, it could sway the momentum just because it's such an emotional feeling, Bosa said. Dre is a one-of-one human being. He was pushing through so much this year, and I think 99% of players wouldn't have been able to do what he did. He put his body on the line for us, and it sucks we couldn't get him a win. As often happens with Achilles injuries, Greenlaw's came without contact and at the most inopportune of times. The Niners had just punted the ball back to the Chiefs before Greenlaw and his defensive teammates were about to go back on the field. Greenlaw was able to stand up and limp to the sideline, but he and the Niners seemed to have a pretty good idea of what had just happened. The 49ers initially said Greenlaw was questionable to return, but he was soon ruled out. Now let's talk about Nickelodeon covering the Super Bowl. Nickelodeon added its own spin on the sports event by showing celebrities as cartoon sea creatures. The Nickelodeon announcer introduced introduced the celebs including LeBron James and Finn Diesel, Billie Eilish, and Herring Styles. In addition to the strange cartoon celebrities, Sandy Cheeks from SpongeBob was the main commentator, and they referred to Travis Kelce all night as Taylor Swift's boyfriend. Next up, let's discuss the bizarre Robert F. Kennedy Jr. presidential campaign commercial. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. actually apologized to his family Sunday evening after a Super Bowl ad backing his presidential bid ran during the event. Why it matters. The ad was an extraordinarily expensive investment and generated online buzz for the long-shot presidential candidate who is seeking to boost his national name recognition. "I'm so sorry if the Super Bowl advertisement caused anyone in my family pain," Kennedy wrote on X Sunday evening. This commercial was seen as a parody of his uncle John Kennedy's presidential campaign commercial from the 60s. Robert Kennedy later said the ad, which remained pinned at the top of his X page Monday morning, was made without any involvement or approval from his campaign team. Now let's discuss the Andra Day performance. Most thought it was absolutely beautiful, but prominent supporters of Donald Trump were furious with the inclusion of the Black national anthem at the Super Bowl. The pre-game performances at this year's Super Bowl included a rendition of Lift Every Voice and Sing, performed by recording artist Andra Day. The hymn, adopted by the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, is often referred to as the Black national anthem. Former Arizona Senate candidate Carrie Lake responded to a picture showing her sitting down during a performance of the hymn. Lake said on X, formerly Twitter, on Sunday, "I'm still not standing for this divisive garbage. One nation, one anthem." The account End Wokeness added, "There is no such thing as a Black national anthem. If you have a problem with the American national anthem, feel free to leave." Before the game, Representative Matt Gaetz said on X that he would not watch the Super Bowl because quote, "they're desecrating America's national anthem by playing something called the Black national anthem. What is worse is that after Andra Day performed, one of the commentators announced that they were going to, quote, "celebrate America" after coming back from the commercial break. Yikes. Now our last 2 points involve other Super Bowl years but are just as awkward. Remember that iconic moment when Miami Dolphins coach Don Shula was carried up by his team after they won Super Bowl in 1973? Well, while the players hoisted up their coach, a fan came onto the field to try and shake his hand, only to yank his watch right off his wrist. Fortunately, Shula was able to go after the fan and retrieve his watch quickly. Lastly, we have the iconic Katy Perry Super Bowl moment. Katy Perry headlined the Super Bowl halftime show in 2015 on a fantastic beach party themed stage. But what most people seem to remember from it was how one of her shark-dressed dancers seemed to dance completely out of sync with the other backup dancer. To be fair, it can't be easy dancing around in that shark costume. Nevertheless, Left Shark has since become an internet phenomenon that did the unthinkable and stole Katy Perry's spotlight.
As we dive into the story of Taylor and Travis, whose love has blossomed over the last few months, we're seeing the intensity of the spotlight start to weigh on them. The scrutiny they're under has spiked, and this became quite evident during the 2024 Super Bowl. Rumors had been swirling about whether Taylor was gonna make an appearance for the Super Bowl since she's still on tour, but she did, only to have to be tied to an embarrassing moment from her boyfriend, the Chiefs tight end, Travis Kelce. Yikes. So what caused the meltdown? Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco's fumble in the red zone led to a visibly frustrated Travis Kelce off the field at the time, confronting head coach Andy Reid. Kelce, caught up in the intensity of the game, seemingly pushed Coach Reid back a few paces. Poor guy. After that unexpected fumble, Kelce beelined with sheer determination in his eyes. He aggressively confronts the coach about the play, but imagine this. He's momentarily on the sidelines, Noah Gray in his place, but Kelce's got that fire. He's been with Reid since being drafted by the Chiefs back in 2013. They're like a dynamic duo in the NFL. And when it was down to the wire as the Chiefs went all out for that 4th Super Bowl trophy against the 49ers, I guess things were bound to get a little heated. Trouble in paradise? Inside sources were hinting at a rift between Travis and Taylor after their past bumpy holiday season. So it looks like the tension might have been sparked by none other than Travis's brother, brother, Jason Kelce of the Philadelphia Eagles, who was also in the suite with Taylor during the game. Here's where it gets complicated. Taylor and Kylie seem to be at odds, with Kylie opening up last November about the increased scrutiny since Travis and Taylor's relationship became public. Kylie made it clear that fame isn't her thing, saying, "I'm more comfortable away from the cameras. At football games, she prefers the energy of the stands, even if it's in rival territory over a crowded VIP section." Jason openly expressed unease regarding the heightened scrutiny encroaching upon Travis's personal sphere, a shift that escalated when his romantic involvement with Taylor began to blossom later in the summer months. In a candid exchange with Peter King of NBC Sports, the renowned All-Pro center shared his joy for his brother's romance, yet simultaneously noted the exceptional magnitude of stardom that came with it, a phenomenon not commonly experienced by those in the football realm. His concern over the public's fervent fascination also surfaced during the discussion. Being an international pop sensation like Taylor is not easy. What's your take? Are Travis and Taylor here to stay, or is this celebrity romance on the rocks? Let us know down below. Behind the scenes, Taylor and Travis have been juggling a whirlwind schedule of her concerts and his football matches, not to mention fitting in family meet and greets. But as they start to get their groove, tough talks seem inevitable, especially with the nasty rumors always circling. Travis was in for a whirlwind of public attention when he started dating Taylor, as the powerhouse Kansas City Chiefs tight end opened up in an interview confessing that the spotlight that comes with a high-profile relationship was unlike anything he'd experienced before. During a feature with the Wall Street Journal, Travis shared his new reality, having paparazzi camped outside your home and being trailed wherever you go was totally new to me, he said. "I mean, I've never been with someone who has such a presence. It's a whole different ballgame." After a thrilling comeback that saw Kansas City snatch victory from the jaws of defeat in the Super Bowl's overtime against the 49ers, all eyes were on Travis and Andy Reid. They took the moment to clear the air about a heated exchange caught on camera. Picture this. It's the second quarter and the tension skyrockets when Isaiah Pacheco loses the ball in the red zone. Off the field, Travis's frustration spills over. He charges towards Coach Reid, his words sharp and his demeanor intense, inadvertently jostling the veteran coach. Fans were abuzz about the clash, that is until the pair set the record straight. Several members of Kelce's inner circle, including girlfriend Taylor Swift, seemingly saw the confrontation as they all came together in a VIP suite to cheer him on. Some critics have pointed out that her personal life often seems to intersect with the drama of those around her, from feuds with fellow artists to public breakups with high-profile boyfriends, and now it seems that the incident involving Travis and his coach might just be another addition to this pattern. So how exactly are these two events connected? At first glance, it might seem like a stretch to link a football game to the personal life of a pop star, but upon closer examination, we can see that both Taylor and Travis have faced similar challenges when it comes to managing their emotions, especially in high-pressure situations. For Taylor, her songs often reflect the ups and downs of her relationship, from heartbreak to finding new love, and while this vulnerability has resonated with fans, it's also opened her up to criticism and scrutiny from the public eye. Similarly, Travis's outburst on the field could be seen as a manifestation of the pressure and expectations placed on him as a professional athlete. But what is most interesting about this connection is how it reflects a larger societal issue, the constant demand for perfection and control in our lives. Both Taylor and Travis are highly successful individuals who are constantly under immense scrutiny from the public. And in a society that values perfection and control, it's no wonder these two individuals have struggled with managing their emotions in high-pressure situations. So while the incident between Travis and his coach may seem like just another sports controversy, it actually sheds light on the deeper issue that affects not only celebrities but all of us. It serves as a reminder that no matter how successful or talented we may be, we're all human and susceptible to moments of weakness. And perhaps instead of criticizing and judging these individuals, we should use their experiences as an opportunity for self-reflection and empathy.